It's been a few weeks. I forgot microphones have to be on when you come up to talk to people.
Flick the little switch.
My bad, my bad. Hey, welcome tonight to CrossPoint students. It's our first night back from Christmas break.
Woo!
We are super excited to see you guys. I know that COVID numbers are up and you're still out of school, and so there's a lot of reasons why you might not have chosen to come tonight, but thank you all for coming. For those of you who are here in person, and those of you guys who are watching online, we know there are some watching online. We're really glad that you joined us in that way as well. And I missed you guys. What can I say? It felt like a long break for some reason.
It feels so weird to come back here. I feel like I've forgotten how to do everything that is associated with a Wednesday night.
Maybe we should have someone else do it.
Oh, maybe, hey, somebody want to do this? Or... So I've already
Wow, everyone's like, no, I don't want to be up there.
They're like,
are you
listen,
kidding me?
You've already killed it,
Yep,
so.
Yep. But we are excited that you guys are here. My name's Kyle. If you're new with us tonight, I would love to get the chance to meet you. If you didn't stop by the Welcome Center before you came in this room tonight, we do need to touch base with you guys so that we can get you to the right small group and we can fill you in on everything that happens at CrossPoint Students. So Shara is back there, right there. She's waving an iPad in the air.
That glowing square in the background?
If you didn't, that's not a very nice thing to say about Shara.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
a glowing
Forgive
square.
me.
My
You're
goodness.
glowing.
If you are new here, I would encourage you in the next few minutes, once we kind of get going, head over there and say hi to Shara and get checked in and all that good stuff, all right? We got a couple announcements for you guys, things that are coming up in the life of CrossPoint students that we want you to be a part of. We want you to consider coming and joining in. So, Paul, what's the first thing we wanted to share with them tonight?
Well, we have a few things on the docket. I'm going to let the screen light up behind me so that you can get a good look at this. We have mission trips. First of all, hey, there you go.
You should be cheering for mission trips. They're like one of the best things we do.
I would say they are the best thing you could do.
It's a blast.
This year.
It's a blast.
There are really two announcements with this. One, mission trips are happening.
As far as we know, obviously the world is like ridiculous. But as far as we know, we are planning on both our mission trips happening this summer. We're moving toward it in that direction.
So those dates are, the global trip will be the 12th or the 21st. You'll be going to Honduras.
We're going to Honduras this year.
Pretty awesome.
We got some great people we're connecting with there.
Our urban trip, which is San Diego and Mexico. They're a few different dates. So it's going to be 8th to the 16th, and then Mexico is going to be the July 12th to the 15th. So it's still one group, I believe, but there's going to be some...
You'll be traveling down there in one group and then be splitting off for a few days. That's a lot of information, and we could tell you a ton of information, but here's the thing you need to know for right now, is there are applications online at crosspointstudents.org. They're very easy to find. There's an event there. You just got to click on it and download the application. All the members of our teams who go on mission trips, they have to fill out an application because we want to get to know you a little bit, make sure that you are ready and prepared to go do something like this. It's a big deal. But those applications, you have about a month to work on them. They became available at the beginning of the year. So if you are interested in going on either of these trips, get home tonight,
for real,
get on the computer, and download the applications and start working on them, all right? Because there's a number of things you need to work through. You can't do it the night before. You will run out of time. So do it and make sure that you get them returned back to us. We would love to take some of you guys. I'll just say for me, again, one of the most favorite things that we do at CrossPoint students, because I get to see you guys really step into what God has called you to be, and they're life-changing, absolutely life-changing.
Yes. I can say my life has they have been life-changing experiences.
Absolutely.
And I think the students who have gone can testify to that as well.
You guys know that. So be sure to do that. Don't drag your feet on that if you want to be a part of either of those trips or you're interested in finding out more. CrossPointStudents.org. Download the application. Second thing we wanted to mention to you is a little bit closer. As you guys know, we have been telling you about retreat coming up. Last year, we took a bunch of you guys up to Camp Chinkapin. We played in the snow. We took time to draw close to God.
Awesome.
It was a great time, and we're looking forward to doing that again in the future. Retreat this year is going to be actually here on campus because Camp Chinkapin, unfortunately, is closed to guests right now because of COVID stuff.
Because of the state of the world that we're in.
It is the deal.
I hope you understand.
But we do need to make a slight change on the dates of retreat. And here's why. A lot of you guys know COVID cases are up, ICU capacity is down. And so as a church, as the leadership of our church, we've decided to postpone a couple kind of larger gatherings. We still get to do this, which is awesome. But we were postponing a few of the large gathering things that we are doing, retreat being one of those. So basically, all that means for you is it's not January 17th and 18th like it was going to be. It's going to be pushed to February 19th and 20th. It's a night and all-day Saturday, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to learn how to endure difficult things in life. Like that's important right now.
Yeah, for real.
Right? And it's going to be really good, and we would love to see you there.
Yeah, I have to apologize. This one's on me. I got a new keyboard, a new computer. When I was putting in the dates, I switched the 2 and the 1 on the keyboard.
Yeah, let's go with that.
It was my fault. It was always supposed to be in February. I just clicked the 2 thinking that it was a...
So you can blame Paul.
So that's my fault. I apologize. But we do have something really awesome to fill you guys in on. Can we just see that awesome slide that we can get excited for? Vertigo 2021! That's something to be excited about.
I always am excited for Vertigo. I really missed it last year when we couldn't go, but I'm very much looking forward to it this year. Again, who knows what June will bring, but we are moving forward like it's going to happen.
I fixed my keyboard, so I'm pretty sure I hit a 6, so it should be in June.
So this summer, we are going to Vertigo 2021 as far as we know, and we would love for you guys to come be a part of us. This is the deal with Vertigo. Anyone and everyone that you know, you should try to get to come.
They should go.
It is an awesome experience. We have a ton of fun. Jesus moves in powerful ways, and you do not want to miss it. It's a great, great time. We got a bunch of great stuff planned, and registration is going to be opening next month. And so we're going to continue to hammer this home with you guys. Sign up for Vertigo.
At the same website that the last one is,
Exact same website, crosspointstudents.org. So this is just to remind you, put it in your ear. Do not forget about Vertigo this summer. Registrations are coming up next month, all right?
You don't want to miss it.
Don't want to miss it.
Awesome.
Will be awesome. Paul.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be back.
I am so happy to be back with my good friend Kyle and my good friends, the CrossPoint students.
That's right. And I think one of the ways that we can celebrate being back together is to once again get to know some of our CrossPoint students.
Of course.
Do you have a good idea on how to do that?
Well, I was trying to think, like when you look at the last year and you're like, what worked, what didn't work? I think that we did a lot of really cool things.
We had to figure out a lot of things.
We had to get really creative, and there were things that worked and there were things that fell on their face. But one thing that we heard again and again, and one thing that we were so excited to do, is a very small thing. But I think we were like, let's just bring it back.
Like 20-minute thing?
No, I think 20 minutes is too much.
10 minutes?
10 minutes, I think, is just it's a little too much. Maybe you could shorten it up just a little bit.
What would be less than? Oh, you mean like a 5-minute?
Maybe for like a 5 minutes, some form of way that people can connect in about 5 minutes. But if only there was a more free form and but structured way to do that.
Maybe like a 5-minute talk show?
Perhaps like a 5-minute Connect show.
Maybe the 5-minute Connect show.
The 5-minute Connect show 2020 is back, and it would not be a 5-minute Connect show without Paul and Kyle in their blazers.
All right. This is doubled the amount of times I wear a suit in a year, doing 2 5-minute Connect shows.
Well, to be fair, this is the first of the year.
Oh, that's true. So I'm already off to a great start here.
And of course, it wouldn't be the 5-minute Connect show without the host's table, which appears to be stuck, so that's okay.
We don't need a table.
But before we get to know some of our students that we've already talked to, the host always brings a really awesome, hilarious monologue.
Who was here last time that Paul did his dumb joke that he tried to pass off as a monologue?
Now,
okay, you remember. So I'm just saying, probably you should prepare yourself. He wouldn't even tell me this.
Now, my initial thought was like, I got to come up with a good monologue. And I figured the last time we did this, I told this really long, drawn-out story that nobody really cared about. And then at the very end, you just felt very disappointed. But I realized I had already preached a lot in the last few months, so I figured we would save that and I would do something actually funny for a change. How about that?
That'd be great.
And I was trying to think, what would be a good set of jokes or anything? But then I had a really amazing interaction a few days ago.
Tell us.
That I have to tell you guys about, okay? Now, it starts off already very funny. I just got a new skateboard for Christmas. I was so excited. And that's not the joke. I'll show it to you if you want. But I was riding it around, and I stopped by a Save Mart, that new Save Mart that's over by Bayer, the one?
The one with the robots?
Yeah, don't give me a start on the robots.
Okay, cool.
But I grabbed some fruit there because it was the afternoon, I wanted some fruit, and then I was riding around, and then I ended up at this park that's just behind Bayer. I think you guys know the one. And it had these benches, and I was a little tired, so I sat down on the benches, and I was eating my fruit, okay? And wouldn't you believe it, this is not even the funny part. There was this really cool, pretty girl at the park, and she was walking her dog. And funny enough, I know that's funny already, but she ended up talking to me, and we ended up having a really good conversation. That's not even a punchline. I know, can you believe it? But she was like, hey, do you maybe want to go and get dinner sometime? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Everyone is so sure that this is a real thing.
No, this really did happen, guys. I'm serious. And I said, and this is the part, you should never say this in a conversation, but I was like, listen, I'm looking at me and I'm looking at you. I just have to ask, what is your thought process here? And she was like, well, that's a really good question. She said, I have this rule when it comes to boys. If I see a boy who's not a psychopath, and I don't think he'll kill me, and if I see 3 things that we have in common, I'll ask him out. And I was like, oh, what are those 3 things? Do you guys want to know those 3 things that we had in common? Yeah. First thing is, she said, I saw you wearing a Star Wars shirt. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was. She's like, I love Star Wars. My uncle was actually a sound engineer at Lucasfilm. So I love Star Wars. I was like, oh, my gosh, this girl is amazing. So the second thing is, I saw that you were skating, and I loved riding a skateboard. I actually work at Zoomies, and so I put all the skateboards together. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Two things in common. So the final thing is, I saw that you were eating fruit. And I saw that you're eating a prune, and I love prunes. My grandpa used to work at a prune farm, and so I grew up picking up prunes.
Prune farm?
I looked at the girl. Well, I'm paraphrasing here. I was smitten by how gorgeous she was.
Just making sure.
I looked at her.
Watch out for those prune farms that are scattered across the country.
I don't know how prunes work, but she did because she was a prune expert. I looked at her. I looked at the fruit in my hand, and I said, "It's a date." And she said, I'm sorry to hear that. Have a nice day. So we have a really awesome show for you guys here tonight. We've got awesome guests for you. I'm going to get my table
There's
out here.
There's definitely some kids out here like, I'm not quite sure. Was that a joke?
I was like, why is she running? Why is she walking away all of a sudden?
Oh, Paul.
But she must not
Paul.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
That was rough. That was rough, man.
Kyle, do you want to vamp for a second while I put this table together?
It's just nice to hear that some way, somehow, Paul had a date. That's just.
I know that's the
nice thing to hear.
Understood punchline. Paul doesn't have game.
But Paul, as great as that story was, I would love to hear from some other people.
I would also love to hear from some other people. Maybe.
Do you want to bring out our first guest?
Yes, our first guest for the night. We had a lovely talent agent named Shara Labelle, and she approached some of our awesome guests tonight. I need my first guest, Kayla Edgerton. Kayla, would you like to make your way onto the stage?
Give it up.
Now, the way we do things here is we have a question up on the screen that will help prompt some conversation. So,
all right,
Kayla,
how you doing?
Pretty good.
Do we have an extra microphone for her?
I don't know, but I'll just give mine to her while she talks. Okay.
All right. So here's our first question, Kayla. What's one show that you would like to reboot or continue? A lot of shows fall apart. A lot of shows get canceled. Is there a show you would like to bring back from the dead or maybe redo it? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Probably the Vampire Diaries, because there were supposed to be like 12 seasons, but they ended it at 8. So.
How would you? Any Vampire Diary fans here? I've never seen it. I could take a guess as to how it goes. Is it like, Dear Diary, today I, drank some blood, and Dear Diary, I hate garlic, don't you?
Kinda. Sure.
How would you continue the story of the Vampire Diaries?
I don't know. That's a tough question.
Is Edward in it? Edward Cullen?
No.
No. Dracula, is he in it?
We could add those people to the story.
Edward Cullen and Dracula and Nosferatu, they get an apartment and they live together.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. I was just spitballing here. What do you think?
I think that's a good plot.
All right, well, I'll get our talent agent, Cheryl Labelle. She'll get, what's his face on the phone? Who played Edward Cullen again? Robert Pattinson. He'll get him on the phone, and we'll get this show going. Any other thoughts? Anything you'd like to add to the Vampire Diaries reboot?
No, I think that's a good plot.
I think that we've got a good story here. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Everybody, give it up for our guest, Kayla Edgerton.
I'm just excited to hear that an Edgerton sister is about the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, for real. What would
you're like the edgy sister, where you're like,
I'm surprised she didn't
Diaries, you know?
I'm surprised she didn't get set on fire or something just for speaking of that.
Nice.
I need our next guest coming from middle school. I need Nolan Cheek. Cheek, is that the one who I was told?
Jonah Cheek.
Jonah Cheek. Sorry,
Jonah
Nolan.
Cheek.
We'll get you next time. Jonah Cheek, would you like to come on down?
Look at this. Look at this strut. He's like, I'm not in a hurry.
He knows what he's
up here.
He's a guest on the
well,
5 Minute Connect show. He knows what he's about.
How you doing, Jonah? That is a nice matching sweatsuit. I like it. Is it comfortable?
Yes.
Nice.
Did you get it for Christmas?
No.
Oh.
You kind of got a Christmas vibe going here with the red mask and the green outfit.
Well, you look so comfortable. If you want to get more comfortable, I'm going to give you a robot. If you could have a robot that performs only one task, but it can do a task for you, what would your robot do?
Ooh. Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
Just for all the people watching.
Sure.
How advanced is this robot? Are we talking like Roomba, or are we talking like
it's like Roomba,
futuristic?
It's like Roomba-esque.
Okay, so it has to exist in the world that we live in?
It just has to do a task.
All right.
If I want a robot that ties my shoes for me, and that's it. And that's your one robot.
Okay, got you. So probably not like the Terminator.
No, I don't want to. I wouldn't say a robot that kills people.
I'm saying maybe that's what he wanted. I was just clarifying. Okay, Jonah, what do you think? You could have a robot that performs one task. What would it be, and how would you have it do that?
Make my food.
Ooh,
make your food.
A robot
you would trust
chef.
A robot to make your food?
Like a chef.
A chef robot.
What would you make it make? Like, what's your favorite food?
Yeah, what would you make the robot cook?
Sushi.
Ooh.
And you don't cook sushi.
Yeah, well, you prepare it. A robot chef. I feel like the robot would not know how food tastes, though. I feel like any food made by a robot wouldn't be good.
Yes. How would you make sure that your robot was able to cook or prepare sushi that actually tasted good to you?
I would taste it first.
So you just go I have uncooked rice and a fish and a cucumber. I'm gonna taste all this first.
Figure it out, robot. Put it together.
Yeah.
I feel like your robot could have different settings. Like it could be like Guy Fieri robot or maybe like Gordon Ramsay robot. And you walk in and it's like, your pancakes are ready, you biscuit! And it would just yell at you.
Biscuit?
That's what Gordon Ramsay would call someone.
Oh, I didn't know.
He calls people
if you
donuts.
could pick one famous chef, I feel like you must be a foodie, Jonah. One famous chef to model your robot after, who would it be?
I don't know.
You should have said your mom. You had a chance to get so many points here, man.
Oh, your mom is the best chef. And
Maybe.
I think everybody's mom is the best chef.
Nice.
Actually, it's my dad.
Oh, that hurts the mother's heart, but I bet your dad's excited about
This robot doesn't exist, and it's already splitting a family apart.
That's tough. Well, any final words, Jonah, on your robot chef that you, I'm sure, very soon will be putting into production?
No.
No. You've reached the
He
pinnacle.
knows what he wants.
Robot chef, hibachi chef, that's what you're doing, huh? Nice. All right. Give it up for Jonah. Good answer. I don't know if I would, all I'm saying is that in the event of a robot uprising, I don't know if I would trust them preparing my food.
Yeah, it would poison my food, or it just knows how to use sharp knives.
Might all taste metallic. I don't know.
Yeah, everything would taste too iron and stuff.
Maybe. All right, who's our next guest?
We
Paul?
have a robot expert here. I need my friend Cassie to come up to the stage. Cassie, self-proclaimed
Come on
robot
up here.
expert. There she is.
Cassie, it is great to see you. We haven't got to see you in a while.
It's good to have you here.
So good.
How have you been?
Good.
Well, you are some have called you a fashion icon. Would that be incorrect, or would that be correct to say?
Is that correct, Cassie?
No.
She's like, no,
I'm
it's not.
trying to help here.
That's how you know you actually are, when you're like, I don't even care.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
right?
Well, Cassie, the fashion icon, what's one fashion trend that you're just tired of?
Ooh.
You see fashion trends and you're just like, those have got to go.
Give a couple examples of some fashion trends.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, I don't want to, here's the thing, is I really don't want to insult people here in the audience because I definitely seen some fashion
Can we
trends.
just all agree, no one will be insulted here, right? Speak freely, speak your heart, Paul.
I hate when people are wearing tie-dye buyer shirts. Oh, they're just the worst. No, actually, I really, there are shirts that are shirts and shorts and pants that are just really so baggy. Like Adam Sandler. You ever seen Adam Sandler? He's got a really baggy shirt and jean shorts that go down. They're like pants, but they're shorts.
Once upon a time, that was the trend, my friend.
Well, they should stay once upon a time.
I have dressed like that. All I'm saying is in middle school Kyle. Oh, super cool.
That's another reason why Paul and middle school Kyle would not be friends.
Probably
Cassie,
not.
what's a trend that you just are tired of?
None of them.
None of them?
You
Are
love
just
all
a
the
trend
fashion trends?
equalist? You're like, I appreciate all trends. Okay, then what's a trend that you really appreciate?
The skater trend. It's
Oh, yeah.
wear all Vans. And
I got you.
I got a pair of Vans on right now. Look at that.
Okay, here's a question then. What's one fashion trend that you wish was more popular?
Ooh.
Because I see trends and I'm like, man, I got one while you think. I don't think that there are enough capes in the world.
Capes?
There's not enough capes in the world. No, you laugh, I'm serious. You ever see someone walking around with a cape?
I do, but it's generally down here in the middle of the night.
I know, that's why I think that we should bring it into the spotlight.
That's a
You
bold
see
move.
Pharrell Williams and he's rocking a cape, it's cool. I rock a cape and I look like I'm LARPing. And
Does anyone here know what LARPing is? It's you pretend to be like hobbits
You wear
and
capes
trolls
and you cast
stuff,
spells.
run around,
we're all
beat each
familiar.
other up with swords.
We all know how LARPing goes.
Yeah.
I wish capes were more popular. Cassie, any thoughts on what fashion trends we should bring?
my uncle wore capes at nighttime though.
Your uncle? Wait.
Did you hear this?
Say that
Explain.
again.
Explain.
Yeah, he wears a cape at nighttime because it keeps him warm.
He wears a cape at night. I have a follow-up question. Does he also wear perhaps a mask with bat ears at night as well? Because you specifically said he wears a cape, but only at night. Is your uncle Batman? No, and that's what your uncle would say.
Of course you can't tell us, but now we all know.
Is your uncle
Cassie's
Batman?
uncle is Batman.
Your
So
uncle is Batman?
give it up for Cassie,
Thank you so much,
the
Cassie.
nephew of the one and only Batman. Thanks for giving us our fashion advice. We got one more, right?
I
Then we
need
to
more
move it on.
capes.
I need one more guest. I need my friend Levi Langley to come up to the stage.
Levi.
He's the one we didn't approach, but first of all, we have a very important question to ask you, Levi. You have 1 minute. How do you make myself or Kyle angry at you? Within reason, be respectful, of course. How do you spend 1 minute to just make us the most mad or angry at you?
Star Wars is overrated.
Okay.
You're just objectively wrong, but
I mean, that's your opinion, but
I'm not mad. I'm just like, I pity you.
I mean,
for saying
I
such
see
a
other
thing.
people be wrong all the time, and I'm okay with that. Is that all you have?
That's all you have is the Star Wars bullet in your chamber there?
I mean, Mandalorian is overrated too.
Well, okay. I
Okay,
mean,
explain yourself.
yeah, okay.
It's literally the same plot line every episode.
Okay. It's just like watching sports. It's the same plot line every time. Ooh, they hit the ball and it goes a place and they get points.
At least these guys have like laser guns and stuff.
Yeah, I've never
I mean,
seen one
When's the
sporting
last time
event.
you saw a lightsaber at a football game?
Yeah.
It's called CGI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm Levi. I don't have a good taste in
Well,
entertainment.
I feel marginally angry, so I think you succeeded. I think you
Okay.
succeeded
Well,
there.
I'm a little ticked, but that's not actually the reason why we brought Levi on. Because another aspect of a Connect or the 5-Minute Connect show is sometimes guests get gifts.
Like Oprah. You
Like,
get a gift.
you
get a gift, except for none of you do. Just Levi gets a gift.
Levi, I've got a gift for you. This is coming straight from the generosity in my heart and no other reason. Levi, these are for you. I'd like to present this to you. Would you like to open this up and show the audience? Well, you could stand up and
Let's see. Let's show them to the crowd here.
let's see what you got. Ooh, a pair of CrossPoint
This-
students Vans.
Now, here's the deal. If you're like, what the what?
Are you
Are they
putting them
just
on
like
right
giving
now?
out shoes right and left?
He's rocking them right now.
Levi, like many of you, came to our fall party a few months ago as we celebrated Halloween time. And Levi was the winner of our CrossPoint students Vans, and it has taken us that long to get them here and get them
Vans
into his
takes
hands.
a long time to make custom
They're,
shoes.
they're
I've
good
learned.
shoes. So they look pretty good, Levi.
You rocking
I
them.
like them. Nice.
I feel like
Well
they
done.
belong there.
Well done.
Yeah.
They fit? Awesome.
It's almost like we picked
awesome.
the size you told us to get. That's awesome. Well,
Good job.
congratulations, Levi. Thank you.
Thanks for being a part of the 5-Minute Connect show. Thanks for showing off your new kicks. Give them one more round of applause.
Awesome.
We appreciate all of our guests, and we're glad to get to know you guys better.
Yes, it feels so good. Now we see the first ever CrossPoint Students Vans out in the wild. Hey, we have a game to play, but it's more of a reflection on life. Now, if you'll remember, this time last year, we played a game called the Big Fat Quiz of 2019. And I was thinking, what are games that we could play this year? I found that game, and I figured, everybody loved 2020. It was awesome. We should reflect on the year 2020. And so today we are going to be playing the Big Fat Quiz of 2020. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to bring on one person who claims that they are the expert in the year 2020. So first of all, who thinks that they are the most ear to the ground person? Who would like to play the game, the Big Fat Quiz of 2020? I see a hand way in the back. Sure, yeah, come on up here. I can't tell who you are, but she seems like she knows. Who here thinks that they are... Oh, hey, it's hard to tell who people are. Would you like to come up here? All right, so here's how this is going to work. It's going to be really easy, and you guys can all play along as well. I'll give you some phone a friends if you'd like. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to read you a question about 2020, and you're going to give me the right answer or the wrong answer. Sound good? All right, first up, pretty easy one. This movie not only won Best Picture in the 2020 Oscars, it also made an unprecedented achievement. What movie won Best Picture in the 2020 Oscars? Would you like to phone a friend? Yes, who here thinks they know who won the... Just yell it out. Parasite, do you want to go with the audience's answer, or would you? Sure. Parasite, let's see, is Parasite the correct answer? It is! Do you know why Parasite was such a groundbreaking achievement? I'll tell you, it was the first foreign film to win Best Picture. That happened last year, by the way. Next up, in January, our president created the newest branch of the armed forces. He made a new armed forces. Do you have any idea of what it would be?
A gun?
No, it's a military branch. So it's not the Air Force, and it's not the Navy, and it's not the Army. Do you have any ideas?
No.
Does anybody here think they know the newest? Space Force is the audience's guess. Do you think that is correct? Let's see it. It is the Space Force. Do you know what the Space Force is? People who go to space and fight aliens? I don't know. All right, we've got a few more here. We're going to skip the next one. We're going to skip the next few. In March, the documentary Tiger King was released on Netflix. Have you seen the show? Tiger King is a documentary about tigers. Well, that's okay. One of the people on the show was accused of something. There's a big rumor going around this woman. Her name was Carol Baskins, and she was accused of something. Do you have any ideas what she was accused of?
Murder?
Murder? Let's see, is that correct? She was accused of murdering her husband. Who here saw the show Tiger King? Do you guys think that she killed her husband? Some say yes, some say no. Do you look at that? Look at that awesome marriage. Do you think that she would murder her husband? We don't know. She's like, yeah, she would. Okay, we've got a few more questions here, and then we'll get going. Now, in October, the Los Angeles Lakers won the NBA championships, but it was made even sweeter because one famous NBA player passed away recently. Do you know who that is?
Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant. Let's see it. Is it? Oh, unfortunately, but yes, Carl, you are correct. And we've got one more question here for you tonight. If you win this, you win the whole night, all right? It wouldn't be a quiz on 2020 without talking about the coronavirus. Are you familiar with that? Could you tell me what COVID-19 stands for in its entirety?
The flu?
The flu. It stands for the coronavirus disease 2019. It's as simple as that, but now you know. And now it might be COVID-20 for this year. Isn't that depressing? Well, we're going to take that depressing note and we're going to move on to some time of joy, right? Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking a trip down this sad, depressing year of 2020. We've got an awesome band. We've got an awesome night of worship here ahead of you. Guys, take it away, all right?
Falling into you. 'Cause no one's gonna love me like you do. I've got nothing to lose, so I can't stop, won't stop falling into you. The rush I felt in the free fall as I lost control of my life. Jesus, I can't stop, won't stop falling into you. My God, I'm falling into you. 'Cause no one's gonna love me like you do. I've got nothing to lose, so I can't stop, won't stop falling into you.
So as we go into this next song that we're going to sing, it's one we've sang a couple times before. It's called As You Find Me, and I think it's like a really appropriate song in light of what we have been going through, and then also just like more recently, like what's going on today. Like obviously today, some pretty hardcore stuff went down in the Capitol, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of that. But what has been a little like disheartening to me personally is that, man, it does not seem like that big of a deal. It just feels very on brand, right? Like of course something like that happened. Of course people would act that way because they've been acting that way seemingly to such a high degree for so long this year, from all sorts of different opinions and ideas and sides of issues and all that stuff. And it makes me feel, when I kind of go to the dark place that takes me, is like, man, people are so broken and so am I. But the beauty of this Jesus that we serve is that statement is true. We are so broken. But Jesus comes to us right where we are, in our brokenness, and says, I will not leave you here. I am not okay with you staying the way that you've been. I'm going to change you. I'm going to make you different. I'm going to bring you to a new understanding of how to do life and how to see people and how to act. And I think the beautiful thing about the gospel, about this Jesus that we serve, whether you know him tonight or whether you're just like checking it out or you're not sure what you think, is that the bad news that we are really broken and messed up and capable of such evil, there's good news even in that, because we can't fix that on our own, but the only one who can has come to where we are. Didn't say come to me, he came right to where we are. And so as we sing this song, I think it's worth like making a little bit of an anthem as we sing it tonight, where who knows what the next weeks and months are going to look like. Maybe it'll be a bunch of the same sort of stuff we've been dealing with for a year, really been dealing with for all of human history. But we have hope because we know Jesus, and that is really good news. So let's sing that out to him tonight as we sing this song.
Strong and I've been broken within a moment. I've been faithful and I've been reckless at every bend. I've held everything together and watched it shatter. I've stood tall and I have crumbled within the same breath. And I have trembled toward surrender. Chased my heart adrift and drifted home again. 100 blessings to live as desperate and find redemption. And every time I turn around, Lord, you're still there. Before I was lost, I was yours. Before I was not, grace to spare for all my mistakes, and that heart just raised me. No, borrowed breath is yours, Lord, take it all. You're faithful and you are gracious, and I'm just grateful to think you don't need a single thing, but you taught my heart. I was found before I was lost. I was yours before I was not. Wear my scars for all my mistakes. My part just wrecked me. No, I don't deserve this kind of love. Somehow, this kind of love is who you are. It's a grace I can never add up to be somebody you still want. But somehow you love me as you find me. 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 You love me as you find. You love me as you find. You love me as you find. I won't second guess, 'cause I need your love more than anything. I'm in, I'm yours. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me. If you want my heart, I won't second guess, 'cause I need your love more than anything. I'm in, I'm yours. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me. If you want my heart, I won't second guess, 'cause I need your love more than anything. I'm in, I'm yours. Your love's too good to leave me here. Your love's too good to leave me. No, I don't deserve this kind of love. Somehow, this kind of love is who you are. It's a grace I can never add up to be somebody you still want. But somehow you love me as you find me.
God, I thank you that that is the truth that we can always rely on more than anything else, God, that we are fundamentally we were lost, but before we were lost and before we could ever really be known as lost, you are always seeking us out and you have always found us every single time. Every single time we look at our life and we feel lost and we feel broken, we have that truth to recognize that you have loved us as you found us. We may find ourselves in brokenness, but we know that you're the one who brings us out of that. So God, we thank you so much for that truth, that you consistently love us as you find us. God, I pray that tonight, as Kyle speaks, that we're able to recognize that truth and the truth that we have to play in that, God. We love you so much. You're so incredible. And God, we thank you so much for the role that you play in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen. Guys, you can have a seat. In fact, everybody can have a seat. We are not splitting between middle school and high school tonight. We're all going to hang out in here for the next little bit, all right? So you can sit right down. We'll bring the house lights up a little bit. Thanks for worshiping with us. It's always exciting to get to do that with you guys. Let's just jump right into it here. We are wrapping up a series. I know that sounds weird. We did this series a couple weeks before Christmas called To Seek and to Save. And we just really felt like as 2020 came to a close, it was important for us to really nail home the really important things about our faith. It's been a year full of distractions, right? And it doesn't seem to be going away. So it's really important for us to actually land on this is what matters most. And a lot of us, when we think about Jesus, we might have a number of different opinions as to why he came here. And during Christmas, we celebrate him coming to earth. And some of us think maybe he's here to punish us or just make us happy or just be a resource if we want to learn good things. But we discovered over those past few weeks that really Jesus' mission can be boiled down to two things. He came to seek and to save the lost. He came to seek me and you in all of our bad decisions and all the consequence of them. And so that means for us that God is not some God who sits far away and is get your crap together and then come to me. That's not how he interacts with us. Instead, he came to right where you are at your worst possible moment and says, I love you, you have value to me, but I'm not going to leave you there. I love that refrain in that song, that you love me as you find me, but your love is too good to leave me here. It's so easy for us to think, well, if God loves me, then he wouldn't correct me. But man, in God's love for us is why he corrects us and why he says, I will not leave you right where I found you. I will make you something brand new. So Jesus not only comes to seek us, but he comes to save us. Because I think if anyone has a shred of intellectual integrity, you're not going to sit down and tell me, nope, every decision I make turns out great. When I do things on my own, it just goes perfect. No one who's honest with their life would say that. 90% of the decisions that we make, we see how they lead to pretty bad decisions. We saw that today. People trying to do things in their own power with their own wisdom leads to some pretty bad stuff. And that's the same in our lives too. And so Jesus, he comes right where we are, but he says, I'm not going to leave you there. I'm going to bring you into a relationship with me, and I'm going to make you something different. And that's really good news. We need to remember that because it helps us see Jesus clearly. But there's this kind of a second part to this. And so if we wanted to end 2020 saying this is who God is, I think we can begin 2021 by saying, okay, but what's our part then? If this is true, that Jesus came to seek and to save the lost, and he did that for me, then do I have a role to play in this? I love how Jesus never once says to people, come observe me. He never says, come be part of the audience of the show that I'm throwing. Consistently, when Jesus calls people in the Bible, in his story in the Gospels, it's always follow me. Come follow me. Do what I'm doing. Think the way that I think. Act the way that I act. And so if it's true that Jesus came to seek and to save the lost, and he calls us to follow his example, then that means we must have a role to play in this too. I think we are called as Christians, if you're here tonight and you are a follower of Jesus, we are called to participate in God's mission of seeking and saving the lost. Now, obviously, as human beings, we can't save people. Only Jesus can do that. But we have an incredible responsibility to go after people who don't know Jesus and to, in every way possible, point them to the one who can save them. There's a churchy word for that, and it's called evangelism. And evangelism is like a loaded word with a ton of baggage. Because if you're in this room today and you've heard the word evangelism before, you probably are having a negative reaction to that word being spoken. And I understand. I totally get it. If you don't really know much about God or much about Jesus, but you've heard the word evangelism, maybe it like conjures up like colonialism because it was used really poorly during colonialism. Maybe it's more of like a personal wound where you're like, yeah, my mind jumps to that guy who stands on the corner, with a bullhorn telling everyone they're going to go to hell if they don't turn their life over to Jesus, Maybe you've had a bad experience with evangelism, which is a bummer. And then maybe you're here and you love Jesus and you want Jesus to be king of your life, but you're like, oh, every time I hear that word, I know I'm not doing it. I'm not telling people about Jesus. I'm not bringing people along in my life, and now I feel guilty, and I feel awkward, and I don't know what I'm supposed to say, and so I don't even really want you to talk about it. So it seems like it carries so much baggage, but really what evangelism is, what this mission of seeking and saving the lost is it's us showing the hope that we have in Jesus. And that can look so many different ways, but our responsibility is always to have an answer for the hope that we have. Scripture tells us that. And so, if you're like me, you're not great at it. I'll just be the first to tell you that. I mean, Christine's good at it because she's Christine, but like the majority of us are not good at this. We're not good at letting our life be led by these values of seeking and saving the lost because it's awkward and because we've been burned and because we're not sure how to do it. And so let me confess to you, I know that I'm not always great at it. I think we need to be honest about ourselves in this group. We're not great at it. Maybe you as an individual are, but we as a group are not. Opportunities to bring people along to a place where they can find hope in Jesus, we drag our feet so often. And I think that really needs to change. Because if this past year and this past day has proven anything to me, man, the world needs Jesus so badly. And it's always been the case. And we have a responsibility to step into that. And there's a lot of reasons why we don't. Some of them are just straight up lame reasons, like dumb reasons we just need to get over. But one of the more credible ones, the ones that hold more value, I think, is oftentimes it can feel really overwhelming. Like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? What if I say something wrong? Like, what if they reject me? What if I bring up Jesus to the people in my life who don't know him, and it just goes really, really bad? And so there's so many factors, and we feel so overwhelmed that we just step back and do nothing. I think that one of the ways that we can embrace this lifestyle of seeking and saving the lost without getting overwhelmed is that we need to see things clearly. See Jesus clearly, like we have, but I also think we need to see our relationships clearly and a little bit different than maybe we usually do. Here's the reality. In every relationship you have, friends, family, classmates, coworkers, the lady at Target that checks you out all the time, whoever, every single relationship you have, you play a part in that relationship. That might be easy for us to say, no, that can't be true. I have like a few relationships that are like important and the rest are just like acquaintances. But the reality is, Scripture tells us that we have impact everywhere we go. Negative impact or positive impact. Always, everywhere. And so every relationship that we have, whether it's a deep relationship or a seemingly surface relationship, we have a part to play in every single one of those. And I think we can start there. I think we can start by viewing our relationships with people who don't know Jesus the way that we should. That's a good first step. That's a good bite-sized step forward into living a life that is led by seeking and saving the lost. Let me give you an example. So think about your life, and specifically think about your relationship with Jesus, those of you who have one. I bet that you can point to 3, 5 different people in your life that have all contributed to you coming to the place where you are today, right? I'll just use myself as an example. My parents were a big factor in me understanding who Jesus was. My youth pastor was a big factor in understanding who Jesus was. I have a few specific friends. Cody Thomas was one of them who really helped me see who Jesus was. And there's multiple people all through my life that have created this chain reaction in my life to the moment where I chose to follow Jesus and every significant step forward in loving him better and growing in my relationship with him. And the same is true of you guys. Maybe you have parents who love Jesus. Maybe you have a small group leader. Maybe it was a speaker at a camp. Maybe it was somebody on the CrossPoint student staff. Maybe it was a friend who brought you sometime. All of these people play a role in you knowing Jesus and growing in your relationship with him. We all have impact on each other. And if that's true in the non-spiritual stuff, it's even more true in the spiritual stuff. Jesus talks about this a little bit. The scripture will be on the screen. John 4:31-38 says this, "Meanwhile, his disciples urged him, 'Rabbi, eat something.'" So he was teaching and talking and doing miracles and stuff, and they were like, "Man, you look hungry. You should probably eat something." And I love Jesus' response. He kind of trolls them a little bit. He's like, "I have food to eat that you know nothing about." And they're like, "Oh, you're like hiding like hot Cheetos in your robe? Or like, what's the deal here? Where's this food?" And they start talking to themselves. They don't really get what he's saying. And in verse 33, it says, "Then his disciples said to each other, 'Could someone have brought him food?' And Jesus is like, I got to explain to these guys again." And he explains what he meant. Verse 34 says, "My food," said Jesus, "is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work." Don't you have a saying? It's still 4 months until harvest. I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. Even now, the one who reaps draws a wage and harvests a crop for eternal life, so that the sower and the reaper may be glad together. Thus the saying, 'One sows and another reaps,' is true. I sent you to reap what you have not worked for. Others have done the hard work, and you have reaped the benefits of their labor." So what is Jesus saying here? He's using an example, an agricultural example, that all those people would have understood. They've worked in fields. They've seen the crop cycles. They know the deal here. He uses this example to show them that everybody has a role to play in people coming to know him. See, during this time, when Jesus walked the earth, the people who prepared the fields, so plowed the fields, planted the seeds, watered the seeds, took care of the fields, oftentimes they weren't the people that actually sowed reaped the crop. They weren't the people who would go and actually collect the full-grown crop. But what Jesus is saying here, and sometimes there's even bitterness in that, but what Jesus is saying here is that whether you sow or whether you reap, you are part of this process. The Message is a paraphrase of the Bible, and sometimes it says it in kind of a unique way that we can understand a little bit better sometimes. It says it like this: "As you look around right now, wouldn't you say that in about 4 months it will be time to harvest?" Jesus is saying that. Well, I'm telling you, and I love this, to open your eyes and take a good look at what's right in front of you. These Samaritan fields are ripe. It is harvest time. So Jesus is saying to his disciples, and he's saying to us today, that there is a need for people to know me. And now's the time. Now's the time to go. You might not know exactly what role you're going to play here, but he says in the vernacular we've been using, to go seek and to save those who are ready to hear it. This has a few consequences to our lives. It has a few things I think that Jesus is trying to say, and I want to run through those quickly. They'll be up on the screen. But if this is true, what Jesus is saying here, there's a few things that is made very clear. The first is this, that this lifestyle of seeking and saving the lost, this is what we were made to do. And I'll be honest, I have this growing conviction inside of me that the reason so many people bail on their relationship with Jesus, because we see it all the time. We see so many of you guys, and it breaks our hearts, graduate high school and then just disappear or drop off or get challenged 1 or 2 times in college and then throw the towel in on your relationship with Jesus. And it sucks. I hate watching it. And it's not just you. There's all kinds of people who do that. But I'm convinced one of the big reasons that happens so often is because people have lived their whole lives coming before Jesus, really grateful that he saved them, and said, "Just feed me, feed me, feed me. Give me this stuff." They come, they sit in the chairs at youth group. And then they come and they sit in the chairs at their young adult group. And then they come and sit in the chairs in big church. And they go to the camps, and they go to the retreats, and they go to the Bible studies, and they get bloated. Because they're just sitting and taking in and taking in and taking in. And eventually they realize, I feel really gross and I don't know if this is worth doing. That is not how we were made to live. You were never meant to be someone who sits on the sidelines and observes and takes in only. Jesus calls us to step into this mission with him. The people who are so in love with Jesus are the same people who are constantly telling other people about him. constantly showing his love to them in their most desperate times. I see it all the time in you guys. Every time, and I've said this before, every time we go on a mission trip, every time we go on a relief trip, every time we do a rescue night, every time you guys step out and pray when it's scary or tell someone about Jesus even though it's awkward, I always hear the verbatim exact same statement from you guys. Like, man, this feels like how life should be. And this feels like really good. We should do this all the time. And my constant thought is like, yes, we should do this all the time, but just like you, it's easy to get lazy, for me too. We come back, things get normal, and we forget that this is actually how we were called to live. I love that Jesus basically says, I could never get another crumb of food, and I would have all the sustenance I need. Because you know what pumps me up? Doing the will of my Father, doing the will of the one who sent me, by seeking out and saving those who are lost. Man, if you feel stale in your relationship with Jesus, try some of this, even if it's awkward. Try looking for ways to go and to seek and to save the lost, and it will ignite so much passion in you, I promise. I promise. Because this is what we were made to do. Second thing it says here is that the harvest is ready. He says it so clearly. The harvest is ready. So stop screwing around and get to it. We find so many excuses, right? Why we don't want to invite someone to CrossPoint students, why we don't want to bring up Jesus in conversation. We find all kinds of justifications and workarounds, but Jesus here says the harvest is ready. People might resist what Jesus wants to do in their life, but people are crying out for it. And right now is especially clear on that. People are so depressed and so anxious and so fearful and so angry and so prideful and so ramped up. And it turns out the solution to all of their issues are found in the person of Jesus. And we as a church and you as CrossPoint students, man, we need to be pointing people to that. How much could we possibly care about our friend who's like so depressed if we won't even point him to the one who holds peace? And so even though people might resist, there's hope for the kid that thinks that there is no hope. There's love for the girl or guy who tries to find love in relationship after relationship. There's peace for a person who feels like their life is falling apart. And there's even real fulfillment and joy for the person who thinks that they have everything they need. The harvest is ready, guys. People need to hear about Jesus. We just have to be willing to take that step, sometimes scary step. Last thing I want to bring up is this is what we were made to do. The harvest is ready, and every single one of us have a role to play in it. No one gets a pass on this. No one, if you're a follower of Jesus, no one gets to say, not my thing. That's somebody else. That's Christine's job. She'll do it all. We don't get to do that. Every single person is made to play a part in this. It might be sowing, it might be reaping, it might be something in between, it might be both, but we are all in this purpose with the same mission, to seek and to save the lost, and no one gets a pass. Let me give you a couple examples real quick. Some of you might be in that place where you are a sower. Like maybe you have a relationship with someone and it's not to that point where you can really bring up Jesus super explicitly, but you have an opportunity to show them what Jesus looks like in your relationship. So often that's like what our short-term trips end up being. We get these short little moments with somebody to show them who Jesus is, and then we're off to the next thing. Do we make the most of those moments? That's a question we got to ask. For some of us, maybe your role in this is the reaping. You know, one of my favorite things when we go away to camps or when we have opportunities for people to give their lives to Jesus, one of my favorite things is getting to kneel down with somebody who recognizes that they need Jesus so bad and walk through that process of giving their life over to him. That is such an exciting faith-building activity that we get to be a part of. And for some of you guys, God is calling you to be reapers. That sounds creepy, but it's not. He's calling you to be reapers, and I think there's probably more reapers in here than we'd like to believe, even though it's a little scary to step out there. And maybe you get to do the whole thing. I have lots of relationships with students where I got to see them walk in a door with no care of who Jesus is. And I got to see them question. And I got to see them wrestle with their doubts. And I got to see them come to the realization that they can't do this on their own. And then I got to see them decide, the one that I need to move forward is actually Jesus, and I will surrender over to him. It's a beautiful thing to get to watch, but it always requires us to see them clearly and to be willing to step into it. Let me give you a little illustration here, and then we're going to wrap up. So if you guys want to come back up, we're going to close tonight, this part of the night, with a response song. But maybe this is still feeling a little overwhelming, and I just want to I want to point you to an illustration that might just help us like wrap our heads around it. What I have right here is just a little domino. And really, when it comes to seeking and saving the lost, I think the first step that we can take is just to see ourselves as a domino. There's no dots on this one because they're cheap, but this is a domino. And you've seen the incredible, I'm sure you've seen incredible videos on YouTube and stuff like that of thousands and thousands of dominoes that all go down and they create patterns and all this stuff. And it's really cool. But what this shows us is that every single domino in that setup is necessary for it to work, right? And the same is true of us. Maybe you're the first domino that simply just shows who Jesus is to someone, even though they can't even put words to it. Maybe you're like the last domino in the line, where you actually get to like have that conversation with someone, pray with someone, like lead them to a place where they get to know Jesus. And maybe you're just somewhere in the middle, but I think what we need to do is we need to recognize that if we remove ourselves from what God is doing, number one, we don't get to be a part of it, and that's a tragedy. And number two, it's going to slow the whole thing down. God will always accomplish his purposes. He's proven that. But we miss out, and we create a more difficult situation in the people around us. And so I have one of these in my office, because this was not my idea. I stole it from somewhere. I have one of these in my office, and every time I look at it, I'm reminded I have a responsibility in this mission that God has given each and every one of his followers, and I cannot remove myself. So even if it's awkward, even if it goes poorly, I have to be willing to put myself in the line. And what I would encourage you to do is 2021 starts off with a bang here, and we start to walk through these weeks and months. I want you to consider, where is my spot in the line? In each of my relationships, where is my spot in the domino lineup? And make that conscious choice. I will not remove myself from that, because I believe that Jesus is that good and is worth it, and I want to be a part of that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to sing this song that's really a call to action. It's a call to us being a bright, shining light in a very dark world. Sound familiar? It's where we're at right now. And the incredible need for that and the incredible impact that that can make. And as you walk out of this room, there's going to be a couple staff members. You guys can go over there during the song. And they're going to have boxes just full of these dominoes. And they're going to pass out these dominoes to you guys as you walk out of here. And I would really encourage you, hold on to it. Don't just toss in the trash, please. Like, just give it a try. Just give it a try. Take it home. Write a name on it if you need to, if it's like a person that you know God has been calling you to speak up to. And put it somewhere or keep it somewhere where you have the opportunity to see it regularly and remind yourself that I am a part of what God is doing, and I'm going to let the values of seeking and saving the lost lead my life. Would you guys pray with me? Actually, stand up first, and then you guys can pray with me, and we're going to sing one more song here together, all right? Jesus, thank you so much for what you've done. God, thank you so much for seeking us, for saving us, God, and for inviting us into what you're doing. Lord, it feels like you could spend time talking through something like this with a whole bunch of like practical steps, and this is how you talk to people about Jesus and all that stuff. But God, I really think step one is just seeing the situation clearly. You are so good. The world needs you so bad, and so do we. And you've called us to be a part of what you're doing. So God, I just pray that as we ask you to speak to us in these next few moments, Lord, that you would just show us exactly what our role is in the people that you bring to our mind. Lord, help us to be a domino that's a part of a chain reaction that changes the entire world. Lord, we love you and we thank you. We ask that you would speak to us in these next few moments. In your name, amen.
this passion in my heart, this stirring in my soul, to see the nations bow, for all the world to know I'm living for your glory on the earth. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me, light a flame in my soul for every eye to see. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me, light a flame in my soul for every eye to see. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me. For every knee to bow down, for every heart to believe, for every voice to cry out, burn like a fire in me, for every tongue to confess, you alone are the King, you are the hope of the earth, burn like a fire in me, for every knee to bow down, for every heart to believe, for every voice to cry out, burn like a fire in me, for every tongue to confess that you alone are the King, you are the hope of the earth, burn like a fire in me, for every knee to bow down, for every heart to believe, for every voice to cry out, burn like a fire in me, for every tongue to confess that you alone are the King, you are the hope of the earth, burn like a fire in me. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me, light a flame in my soul for every eye to see. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me, light a flame in my soul for every eye to see. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me, light a flame in my soul for every eye to see. For the sake of the world, burn like a fire in me.
Jesus, you are good, and we are glad that we get to be a part of what you're doing. Speak to us, be with us as we talk, and consider what our role is to play and what you've called us to do. In your awesome name, amen. All right, guys, you can head out to your small groups. If you're unsure about where you need to go, you can come right up here to the front. We'd be happy to help you out. If not, we will see you back here next week. We're starting a brand new series, and we are excited to jump into it. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.